And welcome to Craig's Gun Channel. We're here today with random shots. Gonna go ahead and we're trying 2 weeks in a row live, so we'll see how this one goes.
We are live.
Already had some technical difficulties. If you were watching the countdown, you may have noticed it kind of stopped and started a couple times. Sorry about that. We'll get the hang of it as we go. So we're still learning.
No biggie.
So I guess we'll go ahead and get the ball rolling. A little bit about the show. This is just random shots where we talk a little bit about anything and everything, whatever kind of, any idea that kind of pops in our head, whatever we want. And as always, we appreciate any comments or feedback that you have. So if you have any questions, comments at any point, please feel free to send them over to us. And, we will try to read them and try to respond to them on air if we can. So we'll go ahead and get started. The first thing I wanted to bring up, and this kind of has to do with the fact that we've been so preoccupied, even ourselves. Last week, we talked a lot about like the Chinese spy balloon and, our fighter jets are out there shooting aliens or whatever. All kinds of stuff going on. We've been a little bit preoccupied that, one of the items that we kind of slipped, the news cycle a little bit.
Probably by design.
Probably by design.
Yeah.
It's the Nord Stream pipeline. So I have some information here. For those of you who don't know, let me pull this up here. The Nord Stream pipeline is basically a natural gas pipeline where Russia provides really pretty much the bulk of the natural gas to Europe, particularly Germany. And they have these pipelines called the Nord Stream. There's two projects. There's Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2. Each of those actually has two pipelines each. So there's 4 pipelines total that are running under the ocean to deliver this gas. And anyway, there's in September of 2022, there were 3 explosions that knocked the system out. So basically, it shut down the capability for the gas to be delivered. Now the reality is Putin had already kind of closed the tap a little bit, and then he'd open it, and then he'd close it as he's trying to make points with Germany. It's like, hey, look what I can do. But at this point, there was an explosion, and so he can't turn it on now. It's just off. So it's problematic for a couple reasons. One, the gas can't be delivered to Germany. Now, remember, this was in September. What usually follows, September and October, that'd be winter. So when you use natural gas to heat your house, that could be a problem. And most people in Europe use natural gas for heat or electric, and they have a lot of their electric production uses the natural gas to produce the electricity too. So it was all kinds of problems. Energy costs skyrocketed and stuff because of it. But anyway, Washington quickly stepped in and was quick to blame the Russians, basically saying, you blew up your own pipeline.
That makes a whole heck of a lot of sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, I suppose. And of course, Russia quickly jumped in and said that it was the West that did it. And then Russia went so far, Putin has actually, he asked the UN for an investigation into the matter, and that investigation is still ongoing. So they haven't, really settled on anything yet. But here's where things become a little bit problematic. It's a Newsweek article, February 9th of 2023. I've lost 10 years, man. It's been a rough decade. And anyway, there was some senators, they're basically raising these concerns that if the allegations about the United States sabotaging the Russian natural gas pipeline are true, he wanted to make clear that he and his colleagues were not aware of the plan. The U.S. continues to deny that it had any involvement in the damage to Russia's Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 pipelines in September. On Wednesday of this week, so remember this has been a week or so ago, investigative journalist Seymour Hersh published a report on his Substack blog that U.S. Navy divers set bombs that massively damaged the Nord Stream, a natural gas pipeline in the Baltic Sea. And after the report was published, the White House called the accusations utterly false and complete fiction. Republican Senator Mike Lee of Utah posted on Twitter on Wednesday afternoon that if the allegations are true, he and his colleagues were not aware of the plan. He went on to say that he's troubled that he can't immediately rule out the suggestion that the U.S. blew up the Nord Stream. He checked with a bunch of his Senate colleagues, and among those that he talked to, none were ever briefed on anything. Or at least,
I know nothing.
Yeah, I know nothing. They're pulling the old, Schultz defense?
Sergeant Schultz,
Sergeant
yep.
Schultz. And basically, if it turns out to be true, they've got a huge problem. The explosion caused massive damage to the Nord Stream pipelines. After the explosion, Sweden and Denmark investigators both determined the act to be one of sabotage. So this wasn't an accident. Something was purposely done. The U.S. agreed that the attacks were deliberate, but of course didn't take responsibility. President Joe Biden also urged Americans to not listen to what Russian President Vladimir Putin is saying about the attacks because the information wasn't true. Well, I want people to see this here. Let me pull it up. I'm going to pull this up big screen so everyone can watch.
If Russia invades, that means tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine again. Then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it. We will. I promise you, we'll be able to do it.
Let's go, Brandon.
I want to be clear with you today.
Who's this?
If Russia invades Ukraine, one way or another, Nord Stream 2 will not move forward.
Senator Cruz, like you, I am, and I think the administration is very gratified to know that Nord Stream 2 is now, as you like to say, a hunk of metal at the bottom of the sea.
Unbelievable. So I've got something to point. Why would Putin blow up a source of mass revenue if he is providing the natural gas? You said the majority. I don't know what that percentage is. But
I don't know the exact number, but it's the super majority. It's like 70-80% of their energy.
Okay. So, and that has, I'm sure that they're paying a premium for that, right? Mm-hmm. So why would he cut off, in the middle of a war that he's in with Ukraine, why would he cut off his money-making endeavor, Nord Stream, by blowing it up and sabotaging it, when he needs that cash flow to support the war machine? It doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it doesn't. Now, from threatening to turn it off, and occasionally he did, he turned it off a little bit here and there. But it allowed he had control of that, so he could threaten. Yeah. So if the UN and Security Council and stuff, if they started to say too much about this invasion in Ukraine, he could say, "Hey, you guys need to. I'm going to cut your gas down."
So
why? They would tend to control it, but
he wants to control that. He wanted to control that leverage,
right?
Yeah. So why would he get rid of it?
He wouldn't.
He has no leverage,
right?
Like that.
He would not remove his own leverage or his revenue stream. To your point.
All right. So let's change gears here. What do you think if we did it? If the U.S. did it?
Yep.
To what purpose?
Well, as
other than poking at Putin, I mean, is it to get NATO countries to join into the fray? And is Biden a warmonger that is just looking to pick a fight here?
I don't really know for sure. It honestly, my honest thought, quite honestly, is it was just a bad idea. I think it was the administration's way of trying to act tough, to be the bully in the playground. But it's ill-conceived. So, I mean, it's an act of war. If it can actually be proven that the United States did it, that's an act of war. Now, the reason why... Okay, well, let me read some other things here. So, in case you were wondering, Hirsch, who is the one that came up with this investigative journalism and is coming up with this stuff, he won a Pulitzer Prize for his report revealing that U.S. troops massacred Vietnamese civilians in My Lai in 1968. So he's no stranger to digging into stuff and finding out where the government has done horrible things and then being a whistleblower. Mm-hmm. So, he's more than capable and willing to do that. The Pentagon, of course, continues to deny U.S. involvement, but Russia's demanding consequences for whoever is responsible. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov, I probably mispronounced that horribly, told Russian state news agency RIA Novosti that the Biden administration was at fault in an interview a couple weeks ago. They said the Kremlin had already formed the conclusion that the U.S. and possibly U.S. allies were responsible before this Hirsch article was published. And by and large, they're saying this was in the past tense, obviously, publication confirmed the conclusion that they had made for ourselves, that basically it was the U.S. that did it. Of course, there's still no proof. So it would be that's a reason to go to war. Now, 100%. Here comes the dangerous thing about all this stuff. The U.S., we keep providing military aid to the Ukraine. So there is a hot war going on right now in the Ukraine, between the Ukraine and Russia. And it's a proxy war between Russia and, quite honestly, the UN. And by that, I mostly mean the United States. Because we're the look at all the money that we're sending over there. So in some respects, I mean, I don't want to minimize the war that's going on, because the Ukrainian soldiers, they're out there, they're fighting and they're dying, and the Russian soldiers are out there and they're fighting and they're dying. But at the end of the day, this is like every other war. It's politically motivated, and it's basically, right, it's basically the United States against Russia. And this is an outright direct attack if it can be proven. Now, where it gets really scary is Putin just a couple days ago basically said that they were halting participation in the New START nuclear arms treaty. This is the last remaining non-proliferation, non-aggression treaty for nuclear weapons. He's basically saying that they're not going to participate in that going forward. So, is that him just blustering? It might be.
Well,
but what is blowing up a pipeline? That's kind of blustering too. I mean, the threat of...
He's doing what's best for Mother Russia.
He's doing, well...
Because
he's doing what's best, I think, for him.
Could be,
But for Russia, he claims to be a 100% Russian nationalist, so he's wanting to rebuild Russia to their former glory. Some of that's self-motivated. He wants himself to be in charge of all of that.
Yes. Legacy.
Right. I don't know, man. This stuff, scares me.
Let me throw something out there. Do you remember back way before the Nord Stream was blown up? Remember at the beginning of the Ukraine war where the Biden admin put all these sanctions on Russian oligarchy, and tried to choke out the financial, so that they would not be able to financially. That ended up backfiring on them. I don't have stats to give you, but that backfired on to the point where the Russian ruble was the highest, had the highest value as far as any monetary system in the world. The ruble's worth more compared to the U.S. dollar than it ever had been, and it was like the highest ranking. So these sanctions basically didn't work.
They didn't work. Yep.
They had, and I'm wondering if this is like, Biden. My first thing didn't work, so I'm going to do this.
Well, you see, I wonder. I'll just come out and say it. I have zero confidence in our current administration's ability to be able to diplomatically maneuver on the world stage.
Goes without saying.
I mean, look at every major decision that they've made. And they try to blame Trump. Trump basically said, we need to be out of Afghanistan by a certain date. Okay, so Biden, we got out by that date. But he managed to screw it up so badly that essentially all we did is on that day, we armed the Taliban with the most advanced weapon systems and, military capabilities that they could have ever hoped to have obtained.
The sad thing is that we have completely forgot about that. Forgot about that whole thing. It's like
so much past history that it's not even real anymore.
But it is a major bungle. Bungle.
And we haven't even seen the dark side of that yet. The anti-aircraft missile systems and stuff that they ended up acquiring, they haven't started popping up everywhere. I was honestly expecting airliners to start falling out of the sky shortly after that. Hasn't happened yet.
Right.
Like I said, zero confidence in this administration. I think this was another completely ill-conceived, not thought out, but in their mind, they thought that this would be a great thing to do, and it completely backfired on them. And I think it's one of those things. It's like they get an idea in their head, and they just, let's do it, and then before they even think about it.
Right. No, I think I think you have to look at this whole Putin backing out of this treaty, this nuclear warhead treaty, as why would he not back out of? He has people sabotaging his GDP producing product, which is, that's probably their biggest thing.
That is one of their biggest exports. Yes.
You've got basically the whole world against you. Why would you stick to a tree with somebody that is trying to wipe you off the face of the earth? That's what he has to think. These things are happening to him. Nobody's coming to his aid like everybody is to Ukraine. He's got to think that the world's out to get him. I'm going to do what I have to do to defend myself. I'm backing out of this treaty.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And yeah, a lot of that makes sense. I mean, the reality is, okay, what's happened I'm not pro-Russia, so don't.
I'm not either.
I don't.
I'm looking at it from a standpoint of put any nation in there.
Yep.
Any nation.
Yeah, they're going
to do what
is in their best interest. And there are reasons that Russia felt compelled to move into the Ukraine. And a lot of that has to do with the seaports and access for commerce and things like that. And the fact that the U.S. and stuff was really pushing Ukraine to join the NATO alliance. And so essentially, it'd be like if the neighbor that your next door neighbor, you didn't really like them that much, but the person lived on the other side of them, you couldn't stand, but your neighbor you had to use their driveway to get to the street.
Yep.
And so your farther neighbor said, well, you should just join us and put a wall up and not allow me to use your driveway anymore. I probably lost everyone with that analogy, even as I was saying it. It was like I was confusing myself. But essentially, we were poking the bear with this. We turned it's still bad, but we turned what should have been tried to have been solved through diplomatic measures, and we are making it a hotter and hotter, real kinetic conflict. And
that's right.
If it doesn't, there's two ways it can go. Well, there's three if you want to go with the third one. That's weird. You can either de-escalate what's going on,
which nobody seems interested
in. You could maintain what's going on, and that's the one that's just weird because you can't maintain it. Or you can escalate it, and it seems like we are just bound and determined to escalate it.
I got a couple of basic questions. This is the way I understand it. Nord Stream 1 was above ground natural gas pipeline that went through Ukraine.
Well, part of it goes through Ukraine, yes, but then the main Nord Stream, they run parallel to each other. The pipelines.
Didn't they do one under the sea there so that they could bypass the fee that Ukraine was charging to get the gas into Europe?
And that was why they were trying to put the Nord Stream 2 in, I believe.
Yes,
part of it was to bypass
Ukraine.
Yes.
So okay. All right, so that clears that up for me.
Part of that goes into the whole with Crimea and the waterways and stuff there. I mean, there are valid. Okay, it sounds like I'm supporting Russia. That's not my intent. But there are valid concerns that Russia had with the whole geopolitical situation there, that they felt compelled, in some respects, that invading the Ukraine was their best option. And honestly, I think what happened was, they figured they'd move in a little bit, Ukraine would go, give up, and then they would be able to get their way. They didn't expect a couple things. They didn't expect Ukraine to probably fight back as hard as they are. So kudos for them for doing that. But what they probably really didn't expect is like the United States to be pumping billions of dollars into it.
You know what? That pisses me off too. I don't know if there's truth to this. Are we paying pensions for somebody over in Ukraine?
A lot of the money,
taxpayer money.
Yes, a lot of the money that we've paid to them has ended up funding the pensions, primarily the government pensions.
What a bunch of crap
for the Ukraine people. So don't think for a minute that all this money you're spending is going all for military aid and for humanitarian aid. some of it's just going to paychecks for politicians. And I also don't doubt for a second, Ukraine has always been one of the most corrupt governments out there. I'll just come out and say it, there seems to be a connection between current government people that we have in place currently making decisions and kickback money, possibly through family and friends, with Ukraine. The whole thing is dirty. And unfortunately, the threat of escalating to a nuclear level is a real threat at this point.
This is a tinderbox. It's if it hasn't already thrust us into World War III, it's something that'll be a factor.
It could
for
very
sure.
well be. Yep.
Good segment there, Craig. Good segment.
So I'm done with that one. What do you got?
We're gonna do a short study, if you will, on the mass migration out of blue states into red states. I think this will be a fun one for you. So the latest U.S. Census data taken from website taxprof.com, the latest U.S. Census data has major migration from blue states to red states. Number-wise, we're looking at percent changes from in-state population just over a one-year period from 2021 to 2022. 4% of the 4% of the U.S. population as a whole increased. So that took us up to 333 million in population in the United States. With that in mind, people migrated, and I'm going to give you some of the places that they migrated out of, the top 10 migrated out of, and the top 10 migrated to. I think you're going to see a theme here, Craig.
Yeah, you had some. Do you want me to pull any of this
Yeah,
out?
yeah. Would you pull up first one there? Kind of gives you a map of states. Now I'm going to tell you what. I'm not going to ask you to do a geography test.
No,
here.
that's good.
I'm going to tell you just the biggest losers and the biggest winners as far as migration, and then we'll talk afterwards about why you think that happened. The bottom 10, the states that lost the most people in a one-year period. California. Does that surprise anybody? 343,000. Can you blow that up just big enough for them to see, and then we'll come back? 343,000 left California for other states. New York comes in at number 2. I don't think that surprises anybody either. Almost 300,000 there. The state of Illinois, 141,000. New Jersey, Massachusetts, Louisiana, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Minnesota.
Interesting.
I can pick one of those that is not a blue state. Louisiana. Louisiana is the only one on that list that is not a blue state that had mass exodus. Now, our top 10 incoming for migration is Florida, 319,000, Texas, 230,000, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, Arizona, Idaho, Alabama, and Oklahoma. Same story here. I only see one state there that is a blue state that actually people came into. That is Arizona, and they're kind of purple.
Yeah, actually, the only reason why Arizona is purple, though, is just because of the major population center.
Yep.
As soon as you leave city limits,
yep, red.
They're red.
Yep. So interesting, I think that that is a indicator of where people are flooding to, and where people are fleeing from, has to do with how they're being governed.
Yeah. And you know, and it's so I look at some of these. The top 4 are some of the most anti-gun, states that are out there.
It's interesting you say that, Craig, because a couple weeks ago we did one on pro-gun and anti-gun.
Yeah.
And it matches up almost perfectly with, if you remember back then, our worst state for gun carriers was New York. And what were they, number 2 as far as the mass exodus?
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
California was on there at the 47th worst state to own a gun because of gun laws. It's funny how these things line up. And then you go down to Florida and Texas, and both of those, as you know, ranked very high in the gun ownership friendly status.
And of course, my initial thoughts with most things end up going to firearms. Big surprise, having a gun channel. But if you also look at these, though, what's the tax situation like for some of this stuff? California, the taxes are ridiculous. New York, same way. Illinois, it is pretty bad. Florida. Does Florida even? I don't even think they have.
They don't have a state tax.
Yeah.
No, they're state tax free.
And Texas, I'm pretty sure, also does not have a state tax. I'm
don't
not
know
positive.
that
I'm
one
not
for
positive.
sure.
I'm pretty sure that I know for a while that they didn't because they had so much oil revenue. Interesting.
I thought that was interesting. Some good data for you there. Like I said, that is taken from, if you Craig's going to put this in the show notes, but Epic Times has a article on this also, and then I also used the Tax Prof blog also. So that's about it on that one. Let's move on to the next topic: concealed carry. A lot of you are concealed carry permit holders, and some of you live in states that constitutional carry, open carry, permitless carry, whatever you want to call it. And then there's others of you that may live in the 9 states in the United States of America that either don't offer that up or it's highly restrictive.
Yeah, what is it? New York, they basically were trying to, and maybe they even got it passed finally. You could go ahead and get your concealed carry because the Supreme Court finally said you have to allow it. So they basically then said, okay, well, the entire, pretty much the entire state of New York is now a what do they call it, a gun-free zone. But there's another term that they use to where you're still not allowed to carry it. It's ridiculous.
So yeah, there's a lot of crap being set out. A lot of myths. I'll just put it that way. A lot of myths that your libtard friends might bring up to you that having all these guns in public spaces is just a horrible risk of danger.
It's the wild. Could be the Wild West.
Could be the wild. That's something they say in here.
Yep.
So just real quick before I get into some myths, your states that have either a no carry law or a maybe highly restrictive to the point, I don't even know how you can get some of these, like New York. I've heard of stories of what they have to go through to get one, and it's even if they are being considered as maybe you're a past law enforcement officer or something like that, the wait time is years in order to get it. It's just ridiculous. So California, New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and Washington D.C. are the uglies, and Hawaii, I'm sorry, are the uglies here. So there are, let me find it here. There are, fill in. I'm trying to find how many concealed carry, oh, here we go. Concealed carries in the last 4 years have doubled in the United States. So the numbers have gone up extremely high here over the last 4 years, and the myths, because of this, the leftists are like all up in arms about it, so they're throwing out all these myths. Myth number 1, concealed carry laws increase crime. The fact is that gun homicides were 10% higher in states with restrictive concealed carry laws compared to ones that had open concealed carry laws. Crime rates involving gun owners with carry license have consistently been about 0.02% of all carry permit holders over time. So only 0.02% of gun crimes are out of concealed carry holders.
I don't know. That sounds like a huge tidal wave to me.
That's so. You do the math.
Wow.
Specifically, Florida, when they passed their concealed carry law, the homicide rate in Florida dropped 36% to 36%, from 36% above the national average before the concealed carry law, down to 4% below the national average.
Huh? Could it be that maybe if you know some type of a violent criminal thinks that their victim might not be so easily overwhelmed, that maybe they'll think twice?
Fact. Texas murder rates fell 50% faster than the national average the year after their concealed carry law passed. Rates fell 93% faster after the first year of enactment.
How much?
93% faster.
Wow.
500% faster in the second year after the concealed. So there must have been a couple news stories out there of potential rapists getting popped. And
that would tend to maybe
the criminals started pumping the brakes a little bit.
Yeah, maybe slow their roll a little bit.
Assaults in Texas also fell 250% faster in the second year. The fact is, crime is significantly higher in states without right to carry laws. So that's the bottom line on that. Myth: right to carry laws increase violent crime 13 to 15. We kind of already worked on that. Oh, here's a good one. Concealed carry permit holders shoot police. That's a myth that the lefties are throwing out there.
Okay.
The Violence Policy Center started listing instances of CCW holders shooting police. From May 2007 through November 2009, they recorded 9 police deaths, 3 in 1 mass killing by a whack job using an AK-47. So that's not even a concealed carry. But
that's what I carry.
Do you?
It fits right in my waistband.
Very nice.
Wow.
Myth: people with concealed weapons licenses will commit crimes. In Florida, they issued in a 2-year span 1,327,000 permits. They revoked 4,000 of those based on maybe some sort of crime somebody did afterwards, not with the gun, but that's a 0.3% revoke rate. Violent crime rate change it plummeted 30.5% after they got the CCW.
So, if it could just save one life, that's always what we hear, and it sounds like this saves
not with guns, though,
a lot.
Craig. Not with guns. It doesn't count.
I must have missed that little addition there.
People with concealed carry licenses are 5.7 times less likely to be arrested for violent offenses, by a factor of almost 6 less than people that don't carry. People with concealed carry licenses are 13.5 times less likely to be arrested for nonviolent offenses. That's a pretty big factor.
Yeah, it is.
I thought that one was interesting. Let's see here. Concealed guns in bars will cause violence. That's a myth. There has been absolutely no data to support that. They couldn't find anything in this article. CCWs will lead to mass public shootings. Again, something else that they could not tie mass shootings to concealed carry based on geographics and state laws and stuff like that. Myth: people do not need a concealable weapon. I've heard that one a ton. What do you need a gun for? What do you think is going to happen to you?
Well, hopefully nothing.
Right.
I mean, I don't know anyone that's gotten a concealed carry permit. And in Ohio now, where it's constitutional carry, but that's fairly recent. Before that, you had to get a permit. I don't know anyone that was hoping that they would ever have to use it.
Exactly.
I mean, but the thing is, you don't know when you might need it.
You don't have any say in whether it happens to you or not.
Exactly.
Right? So here's a fact that battles that. 80% of gun defenses, the defender uses a concealable handgun. A quarter of the gun defenses occur in places away from the defender's home. So that would be the most likely defense situation, somebody breaking in the house. You hear a lot of stories about that. A lot of the old lady with her AR shoots an intruder or whatever, but a quarter of them are out while you're walking around. So is that a chance you want to take? Are you going to get on a plane that has a 25% chance of crashing?
Well, you got a 75% of not crashing.
So, all right, fact: 77% of all violent crimes occur in public places. This makes concealed carry necessary for almost all self-defense needs. But due to onerous laws forbidding concealed carry, only 26.8% of defense gun uses occurred away from home. So that goes to your point that you said earlier. If it's a gun-free place or a gun-free zone or a gun-free state, what does that do to the criminal?
Well, it emboldens them.
It emboldens them, and they're going to be more likely to to do what they're more likely to criminal, right? Myth. Here's a good one. Police and prosecutors are against concealed carrying by citizens.
I'm sure there's some that are, but
there are some.
Almost every officer that I know, and I know a fair number, they're all for it.
So if I had to tell you 15,000 officers were surveyed for this very question, what percentage of them said, no, I don't want people carrying, and what percentage said, yes, I want the citizenry armed?
And I would say it would have to be a low single digits would say they don't want people carrying.
Give me a number.
3.
9%. So
that
it's still single digit.
That's way higher than I figured it would be still.
91% of these 15,000 officers and prosecutors unabashedly said the armed citizenry is a safe citizenry.
Makes me wonder about that 9%.
Right? Well, I mean, they interviewed people in lefty states too. So
well, okay,
you know what I mean?
That's fair. That's fair.
So I mean, there's going to be people drinking the Kool-Aid. So that's where I'm going to end this one on. Congrats to all of you out there. We have, like I said, doubled the amount of concealed carry or open carry or constitutional carry or permitted carry, concealed carry holders that carry on a regular basis. In the last 4 years, that has doubled. So that makes me feel good.
Yeah, and that's awesome. I'm a firm believer an armed society is a polite society. I mean, let's just face it. Criminals are going to do criminal things. And they only respond to, there has to be a repercussion. Because the law isn't going to stop them. So just because something's illegal, that won't stop them. So there has to be some type of deterrent. And if a criminal thinks that the deterrent might actually be their target being able to fight back effectively, that will deter them.
It should. Some it won't. I mean, there's always going to be some that couldn't give a care.
There will be some of that, yes. But, interesting.
All right. Well, that's
good segment.
If you guys have any comments about this or want to share your story, please utilize the comments below, and we'll try to get to you. So my next episode is going to be the random thoughts. Let me pull it up here. Random thoughts. First one. So California, this kind of goes along with what we've been saying. California is one of the worst anti-gun states in the union. It's probably the worst. Let's be honest. There is a new bill filed in California that would prohibit financial institutions that do business with gun manufacturers from doing business within the state of California. This is from 2A Updates on Twitter. I put down there, you can see if you're interested, there is the bill number, Senate Bill number 637. It's rattling around the chambers of California Congress right now. So that's all I'm going to say about that. That's California doing California. Slide number 2. This is kind of going along with your Nord Stream thing. Okay. So this is I found this cool little blip. Nuclear weapons by country as of 2022. Russia is leading the way, and this is probably because of the proliferation. So this little blip came off of have you ever seen those graphs that like move like start in 1908 and then every year the graphs get all change all over the place? So this number, you think 4,477 nuke heads is a lot, but if you look at this, if you look this up on the interwebs, you'll see that Russia and the United States has had upwards of 15,000 at one time.
Yeah, no, these numbers are actually, they're definitely on the small side.
And it's based off of that whole Cold War treaty that came up where right around the early 80s and mid 80s, hitting the peak, and then this whole column just started coming down, and it's kind of stuck right around 4,000 for both Russia and USA for like the last 10, 15 years. So I thought it'd be cool to see. I didn't know this. I didn't realize that. I figured China had some, but I figured they were somewhere in the game. But they 350. Not that couldn't do some damage, but
yeah, but I would expect more too.
I would. Yeah, it just struck me. France, good old France. Nobody takes them seriously. They're at 290. United Kingdom. I knew they had a couple nukes at 180. Pakistan. Now I would have thought. I knew Pakistan had it, but I was thinking that we're going to see a number like 8. Or something like that, you know. But they've really got 165, and I think that comes with the stress and relationship between Pakistan and India for the last 40 years. It's just been it's been like this, and it's everybody else in the world is just worked on both sides with diplomacy and trying to keep them from blowing each other up. But in the pathway over the last 40 years, these two have proliferated and built up their nuke storage, and both those numbers kind of surprised me. 165 to 160, so they could pretty much wipe each other off the face of the earth if they wanted to.
Yeah, and they'd unfortunately take others with them. But
now this one surprised me the other way. Israel. I always thought that they would just be stacked. If you had to ask me before I saw this, how many nukes does Israel have? I would have said 500, 600, 800.
Honestly, I think this might be a little bit underreported.
Oh, sure.
I think they're not gonna. I think they actually have more than what they've indicated there. But let's face it, Israel. It's a tiny little place.
It is.
That's still a lot.
It is. It is. What's Israel the size of, like Connecticut or something like that?
Yeah.
Something. Then last, as far as this thing is reporting, the last and only other country that actually has nukes is North Korea.
And that one should scare us all.
Kim Jong-il.
No.
Yeah, but he doesn't have a way of...
yeah, they basically will just end up somewhere in the ocean around Japan.
True fact. I'm surprised Japan doesn't have them. Is that post-World War II?
There's still a lot of limitations on Japan because of after World War II, yeah.
So what did you think of that? Pretty cool?
That is pretty cool. Growing up in the Cold War era, the whole, duck and cover and all that fun, like, the school desk is going to protect you.
Stick your head between your knees and kiss your keister goodbye.
Yeah. I wish there were a way, honestly, that you could wave a magic wand and make nuclear weapons disappear. I really do. But
mutual assured destruction is a form of dissuasion, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, that was the operating principle of the Cold War.
Yep. So, all right, next clip. All right, I threw this in there kind of to play off of some of your responses to the concealed carry issues and leftist myths and stuff like that. And we've said more than once tonight that criminals are going to criminal.
Yep.
Right? So this seems very simple to me. Murder is illegal. Attempting murder is illegal. A felon owning a gun is illegal. Shooting people indiscriminately is illegal. Using firearms in a criminal manner is illegal. Criminals do not go through background checks. Bingo. Right there.
Yep.
Even though the law's out there, they're not going through background checks when purchasing illegal guns. Explain to me how criminals will follow any new laws, Gavin Newsom. How is that going to change anything? That's going to have zero effect on the criminality that goes on in California. Absolutely none. Explain how new laws will make us safer. These are some things that you can ask Aunt Lucy, who's anti-gun, and protesting out there with all the other anti-gunners. Just explain it. I mean, just
yeah, dude.
Tell me how this is going to work.
Yeah, make it make sense, because otherwise it doesn't. Basically, all of these laws, all it does is it keeps stuff away from the people who follow the law.
That's right. All right, enough of that. Let's move on to the next one. This kind of goes along with a theme that we've been talking about today and the last couple of weeks.
Wow.
Sabotage, question mark?
Yeah.
Planned. What's going on? Look at these, and this isn't even up to date, Craig.
No,
We need to add 2 or 3 to this map.
Yep.
This is what has happened in the last month, not including, what was it, Nebraska, a railroad derailed. This was a different railroad company, too. Yep. I can't remember who it was. And what was that thing in Tennessee?
There was a nuclear, basically a atomic energy nuclear.
Was it nuclear or nuclear?
Nuclear. A nuclear, basically a plant where they refine the ores and stuff like that. It caught on fire. Luckily, they're reporting that there was no radiation leak, no radiation hazard, and everything. Nothing to see here, but man, all over the country, all of this stuff, hazardous materials. I mean, it makes you wonder.
I'm taking into account that we have rapid news now.
Yes. That's
much more rapid news than we had 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
Yep.
Where things, and when it's the piece des resistants, when it's high and centered into the public vision, then anything else is going to be broadcast more and louder and bigger and all that. So I get that. I'm taking that, but I don't remember a time when we've had so many infrastructure calamities in a short period of time that are just devastating, potentially very devastating, like East Palestine.
I would agree with that. I don't recall a time either where there was the sheer volume of them is staggering.
Daily.
Daily. And is it just, maybe some of it probably is, to your point, that now when, something, a cow gets tipped over in the Joneses field, now everybody knows
tweets
about
it, right? Yep.
But it still makes you wonder.
Next slide. This is with East Palestine. If you could blow that up for my friends to see. I want to check into this. I am broadcasting this with a grain of salt. East Palestine with FEMA coming in. Evidently, this guy is claiming that FEMA is utilizing East Palestine as a pilot program area to respond to emergency situations. Digital IDs for the people living in the East Palestine area so they can track their health because of this. Does that sound a little fishy?
It does. I haven't heard that, but...
What could they possibly need that for?
I don't know.
I'm thinking everything from CYA to just another way to track and Big Brother everybody. And, you know what? We saw that you were in this place causing, talking out about the government and how they handled the East Palestine area.
Yeah.
Now I know where you are 24/7. Watch your back, brother.
Yeah, that's different.
All right, next one, real quick blip on this and we'll move on. This is as of February 23rd. These little black dots and clouds are the contaminated air that is being pushed from East Palestine over top of Pennsylvania, up into the New England area and into Canada, and either traveling or dropping in rain or precipitation. I mean, this is contaminants, toxins, particle cross sections, which can be a lot of things. So
that actually kind of surprises me, although I guess when I think about it, it probably shouldn't. I was not expecting it to be going
to loop up
like that.
Yep. And that's probably just because you've seen those weather ones
where the
where
jet streams coming around. Yeah.
Something catches it and it wings it up north.
So this is a lot bigger deal than even I thought it might be.
Now we just need to pay attention to what kind of effects people get out of it and spikes in certain sicknesses. And all right, next blip. So everybody knows that our infamous Governor DeWine.
Yeah, I got to make this one bigger.
Has asked the feds for relief, and this evidently this was before the feds decided to come in and help out a little bit. But Ohio's governor, after Biden denied his request for disaster assistance, decided to put a mask on of our friend, our Ukrainian president. How do you say his name?
Yeah, honestly, it just escaped me now.
It escaped me too.
Because I'm laughing about it. Unfortunately, it's sad but true.
But Rand Paul made this himself and posted it. He made this meme. So
did he really?
Kudos to my man Rand Paul. That is funny stuff.
That is very funny.
So kudos to you. Next slide, please. This guy is an embarrassment. I cannot believe that we elect senators
like this,
dude. And no, I'll back up. I'll say I don't want anybody, even if we're political enemies, I don't wish ill on you or health. But this is funny, dude. He was hearing voices. He described them as he was hearing voices in his head that sounded like the Charlie Brown teacher. That's what he described, and so he checked himself into the medical center for depression.
See, okay. For all the people that voted
in Pennsylvania,
that voted for him, okay, I get it. For whatever reason, you hate Dr. Oz.
Oz was a douche too, so they really didn't have a good choice.
No, they didn't, but
that's what it's come down to. Those are the candidates that were thrown up there.
I mean, so your party, someone looked at that and said, yes, that's exactly what we want. What is happening to our country?
Yes. So that's a quick blip. Craig, what do you think about the old natural gas bans that all the libs are talking about?
It's ridiculous. I haven't quite even wrapped my head around it. Why?
So I'm going to tie it in the difference between a regular gun and a black rifle versus a regular stove and
the dreaded assault stove.
It's an assault stove. So do not be caught in California with an assault stove.
Is that one of them high capacity grill top burners?
Yeah, I think they have 8 burners up there, so that's high capacity.
Nobody needs that many burners.
All right, and my last slide is going to be a tribute to my hero and the guy I most look up to. So if you would, please, Craig. So, Dopey Joe, weak men create hard times create strong men create good times.
Good times.
Joe, you are the weak man that they are talking about. So
the only thing that's going to come from this is the cycle will continue, and eventually...
Can we survive it?
Well, that part I don't know.
Yep.
Our strong men might have 2 heads and 5 feet.
That's true. And man buns.
Oh, help us.
All right, Craig, I got a fun one for our last one.
Okay.
All right, Craig doesn't know anything about this. I just gave him some pictures to throw up on there, so that he really has no idea what's going to happen here. We're going to play a little game called Would You Rather, and Craig is going to shoot from the hip here. All right, so let's put number 1 up there.
Do I have to?
Yep.
Okay.
Blow that bad boy up just for a second. So on the left there is a pellet gun, BB gun, whatever, and on the right is a butter knife. Craig, would you rather go to a gunfight with a pellet gun or go to a knife fight with a butter knife?
Honestly, I'm going to have to go to a knife fight with a butter knife?
With a butter knife?
Yeah.
You think you got a better chance
I think you got a better chance there.
I think I'd agree with you. All right. I don't have a picture for this next one. Real quick, you stumble upon and you have a finders keepers situation where nobody knows that you're taking it and you're able to take it and it's yours. But you can only choose one thing.
Okay.
Would you rather finders keepers a half case of 5.56 ammo, or would you rather finders keepers a high point HP9?
I'm going to go with the 5.56 ammo. Sorry, here we go again. You're bound and determined to make them come after us.
I'm going for the HP9, so no haters. All right, no haters. All right, this one does not have a picture either. Craig, would you rather take a Ruger 1022 takedown on a week-long camping hike into the wilderness, or would you rather take a Mossberg 500? This one's a serious one.
Huh. Into the
Now,
wilderness.
what I'm thinking about is you got a pack on. You're going to be out there for a week long, so you have to pack smart. Takedown, you can kind of break down and stick it in your backpack, where a Mossberg might, but you have different uses for both. And
Yeah, you see, man, there's other factors that could come into that, though. I mean, what part of the country are we talking?
I'm going to say the desert of Arizona.
Oh, well, then it's the 22.
1022?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good one. All right, let's do this next one. This one has the picture. Next picture, Craig. Blow it up for 3 seconds for our friends. And take it back down. Craig, would you rather... these are your only two choices, so don't try to weasel out of this. Would you rather conceal your handgun in a sports bra holster in public for a full day, or carry your handgun in a purse?
I would probably go with purse.
Yeah?
And the only reason
you can
because
pull off a man purse?
the soy boy man bun things has made purses, man purses, kind of a thing. And I don't know if that bra's big enough for me.
I think I'd pack mine between my tatas. All right. You have been, this one does not have a picture.
Okay.
You have been awarded a pass on one of the most recent ATF unconstitutional bans. Would you rather, you can only keep one, would you rather keep your pistol brace, your Russian ammo, your bump stock, or your ghost gun?
I'm gonna go with pistol brace, actually.
I'm with you on. I think that one is kind of easy.
Yeah, because
Russian ammo you can get around. There's other ammo.
Yeah.
Bump stock, it's kind of a novelty type thing, right?
Yeah, the only thing that irritated me about the whole bump stock thing was the fact that it created the slippery slope that we're on now.
Yeah.
With the braces.
Ghost guns you only would need a ghost gun if you're probably a criminal. You know what I mean? Why would you?
Well,
or if it was illegal.
All a ghost gun is, it's a gun that you build yourself.
That's right.
Or something like that.
And that one's kind of stupid too, because
yeah.
that takes away the ingenuity and working with your hands. It'd be akin to woodworker.
Yeah.
You know, making something with
And
your
criminals,
hands.
by the type of people they are, they're not usually the type of people that are going to put work and effort into
That's right.
building their own
That's right.
gun. They're just going to go steal one. Then it won't be a ghost gun and just be a stolen one.
All right, you ready for the next one? This one does not have a picture.
Okay.
Would you rather live in a top 5 gun-friendly state that we talked about earlier,
Okay.
and keep only your favorite gun,
Okay.
or live in a bottom 5 state and you get to keep all your guns?
What good would they do? Just
That's the conundrum,
Just get
Craig.
you arrested.
That's the
I
conundrum.
would stay in the gun-friendly states with my one gun.
Good man. That's my man right there. All right. Next picture, please.
Oh boy, what do we got here?
Blow that up.
Oh,
all right, those
my
are some of our
goodness.
friendly libtard memes. Would you rather, Craig, put on a 1-hour pro-gun clinic for a group of 20 angry Karens and testosterone-starved soy boys on the campus of UC Berkeley, or, next picture,
Next picture.
sit through a 1-hour intervention
Oh,
with David
my.
Hogg and Greta Thunberg while they lecture you on gun violence and climate change? Which one are you going to put yourself through?
Okay, what was the first choice again?
You need to put on a 1-hour pro-gun clinic for a group of 20 angry Karens that are just going to be yelling at you. You suck, Craig. You suck, you gun-toting hillbilly.
You know, I'm kind of torn on that, and I'll tell you why.
All right, talk it out.
Part of me would go ahead and want to do the clinic because there's the chance
that you could turn
that I could turn someone around.
Not UC Berkeley.
And, well, but there's still a chance.
Dude, go back to that other picture. Do you really think that you're going to change either of these two's minds about guns? These are the types that are going to be in your clinic, Craig.
Yeah, okay, so then that goes to that's why I was torn, because I could sit there and quietly listen to them.
Tune them out.
And be completely tuned out. What would be going through my head would have nothing to do with what they're talking about.
All right, that's a good show. I think I'd go with David Hogg and Greta also, and I'd just laugh at them. All right, number 8. This one does not have a picture.
Okay.
Craig, would you rather take a 45 hollow point into your chest while wearing a level 4 body armor, or take a 12 gauge blank from 10 feet away and get hit in your leg with the wadding?
No, actually, I'd rather do the 12 gauge blank and get hit with the
Would
wadding.
you?
Yeah.
I've seen what that does from 10 feet. It actually embeds in your skin.
I know, but
dude, taking a 45 to the chest is going to hurt for a while.
that it is, and you know, just knowing what I know, I'm going to go with the leg.
Okay, all right. I don't know which one I'd pick there. Those both suck. I'd probably take the leg too, to be honest. All right, here's one on the survival genre.
Okay.
Craig, would you rather be dropped off in northern Alaska with a bag of 10 survival items to survive 2 weeks, or be dropped off in a deserted island in the Pacific with a fire starter and a pot to survive 3 weeks?
A deserted island. Now, when you say deserted island, is there like plant life and stuff?
Plant and animal life there, and fish, right?
I would go with the deserted island.
For 3 weeks with
Yeah.
only 2 items.
Yep.
Okay. I think I would do the other.
You northern Alaska?
Because I would pack some stuff to stay warm for 2 weeks, and if I had
You
water,
know how cold it gets up there?
I think I could survive it though. Down there, I don't know, dude. All right, that's good. It's good to have different ones. All right, number 10. You are defending your home against marauders. Craig, would you rather have a thermal scope on your AR rifle, or a helmet-mounted night vision setup with a shotgun?
Oh, that one's easy. I would go with the night vision setup with the
On
shotgun.
your helmet?
On the
with
helmet,
shotgun?
Yep.
For defending your home?
Yep.
Tight corners type of deal?
Yep.
Okay.
Thermal
Yeah.
scopes are great, but
From longer ranges?
it's a longer range thing. If you've got marauder, you need that situational awareness.
Cool. It's a good one. Take notes, guys. Number 11, you're stuck in SHTF. Craig, would you rather have continuous damp socks, next picture, or have no toilet paper? Ever.
I would go with no toilet paper.
Because there's other things you could use.
There's other things you can use, and continuous damp socks.
You got plenty of books.
You'll have so much. Your trench foot would be so bad that you would dream of the day that you could just go without toilet paper.
And you've got plenty of books, right?
And I've got plenty of books. Yep.
All right, 2 more here. These are fun. Craig, would you rather have all the survival gear but no knowledge, or all of the survival knowledge and no gear?
All the knowledge and no gear.
Yeah?
Yep.
I think we've talked about that before.
Yep.
Can't do nothing. Yeah.
Gear is useless without the knowledge.
There you go. Good one. 13. Would you rather have the speaking... Oh, here we go.
Oh, this picture? Okay.
Yeah. Would you rather have the speaking skills of Joe Biden for the rest of your life? Or would you rather hear the Fetterman voices in your head for the rest of your life?
Oh, my goodness.
This one's tough.
That is tough. Since both of those would be... Okay, I'm going to say something's going to be mean. I think both of those would end up being a living hell.
Yes.
So I would go with the Biden.
I would too.
Because you're going to die sooner. All things being equal.
Or you could just shut your mouth.
Or just shut your mouth.
But although those voices are going on always, though.
Yeah, that's... I feel... Okay, we poke fun at these people. For valid reasons sometimes. But I don't wish...
They're ruining my country, dude. I don't give a crap.
Oh, okay. Well, they are ruining the country, but I still don't wish ill
I don't either.
On anybody.
I don't either. They're fun to make fun of, though.
Yeah.
What do you think of the very first Would You Rather episode? I think we're going to do this again.
I liked it.
Yeah?
When you said you were going to be doing... I had no idea where you were coming from with it. But yeah, that was fun.
Yeah? Good times? All right.
So,
do you want to close it down there, or you want to?
Yeah, I think we'll go ahead and close it down there. We're pushing an hour here, and we went way over last time. We want to try to keep it around an hour. So we'll go ahead and wrap up there. As always, this has been a lot of fun. Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed it and maybe learned something, or maybe not. Or maybe you think we need to learn something. If so, please let us know. Send us comments. We do read them. Well. I'll be honest with you. I cannot keep up with all of them.
Yeah.
Because we're literally hundreds of comments a day are coming in.
Yeah.
But we try to keep up on them as much as we can. Did you see anything coming through tonight?
I had one.
Mike C.
Mike C.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Thanks for commenting.
And I wanted to do a shout out to my grandson Nash. I think you're watching tonight.
Very cool.
Hi, buddy. Love you.
So I guess we'll go ahead and wrap up there. As always, thanks for watching. If you like the content, please hit subscribe. Share us with people.
Everybody.
With everybody. If you hate the content, share us with people that you want to make mad.
There you go.
Either way, I don't care. Send us any comments, things you like, and so I guess we'll go ahead and wrap up there. So until next time, stay safe.
See you guys. Thank you.